If you can pull a lesson out of that story right there of something God taught you, what would it be?
A couple things. I would say, so looking back, it doesn't make maybe as much sense, but it was almost empowering to have nothing. It was almost like nothing to lose. It's like playing a game, nothing to lose. But it's a complete just surrendering, like turning it all over to God, because I knew that I wasn't capable.
Yeah.
So that's one thing. And the other thing too is that it has helped me take risk. And because I saw the bottom and I got over it and I started to go uphill. So I was like, I'm not scared of it in a way. I was scared at that moment, but not now. Because I can, I can take a risk now and be like, well, if I lose everything as far as financial, I can start over and build it right back up. I mean, it would be humbling. It'd hurt my pride, but I can do it, and I'm not afraid to do it. Had that not happened, I would have played it safe.
It all speaks for itself. Grinding in silence, ain't nothing to tell. When we step on the court, we gon' bring it to light. And we stop and pop like we caught it a light. Stop asking what's wrong with me. You already know there's a dog in me. Yeah, there's no stopping my focus, man. Make sure all my people gon' ball with me. Yeah, I came to compete, I'm a dog with it. Yeah, I came to compete with my paws in it.
Hey, what's up, CTA family? Welcome back to the Compete Mentality Podcast. The Compete Mentality Podcast exists to motivate, educate, and inspire you guys to compete. Our definition of competing is doing what God calls you to do, even when it's hard. Today, before we dive in, couple housekeeping announcements. First, we got 2 amazing programs that yours truly right here is launching for high school boys and girls hoopers. I got a program that is for somebody that's wired different. You want to compete, you want to grow, you want to get better, you want to be coached up, Transform You is for you. Go to our website. It's going to be July and August nights, Thursday nights from 8 p.m. to 9:30 p.m. under the beautiful barn lights. We're going to sweat it out, grind it out, and we're going to do some mindset training, work on our skill set. Check out our website, competetrainingacademy.org. The second program, I'm calling all you mind right maniacs that are that life's going pretty good, but you want to maximize your potential. You want to reach your fullest dreams. Dream Season X. I'm accepting 10 to 12 individuals in this. It's filling up rapidly. We have 4 people committed to this program, looking for some people who maybe, life's going really good, but you got a question of what's next. How can I reach my fullest potential? How can I maximize the gifts, talents, and abilities that God has given me? This Dream Season X group is for you. It's going to be full of a bunch of individuals who are competing on a daily basis. We're going to lock arms as iron sharpens iron. And without further ado, I'm going to hop right in. And today I am so fired up to introduce our guest, Casey Delks. Casey, thank you for joining us on the podcast today.
Yeah, thanks for having me, man.
Absolutely. Yeah. And I could go on and on to intro this guy. He's blood relation to me. He knows way too much about me, and I know way too much about him.
That's true.
And it's all good. But Casey is a man of God. He's a family man. He's a business owner. And he embraces the compete mentality. He's a Dream Season Level 1 client. Yeah. We're in our 6th month of the program.
Yeah.
And so excited to dive into your story today. We're going to continue our series called Tell Me Your Story. We're going to dive in a little bit to your story.
Yeah.
We learn best from people's stories. We learn best. That's what the Bible is full of stories about people. And that's how we learn and grow in our relationship with God. And I can't wait to dive into your amazing story today.
Yeah, thanks for having me, man.
Without diving right into it, I want to start off with a little bit of a lighter question about food. We love talking about food here at CTA.
Yeah.
date night with you and your bride, Rebecca,
Yeah.
here in Lafayette. Where are you going? What are you getting?
Yeah, so, man, that's kind of tough. We like a lot of different places, but I probably have to go with Red 7.
Ooh, downtown.
Yeah, so Rebecca and I went there, I think, not our first date, but we went there on Valentine's, so usually on our anniversary. It's a nice place, but it's downtown. We have like our go-to dish. It's some pasta farfalle, I think is what it's called. Not super healthy, but man, it's good. So that's probably what I'd have to go with.
Red 7.
So we go there. Not necessarily every like Valentine's or anniversary, but we go there often. So that's our go-to. So it's like nostalgic for us.
Yeah,
so,
for sure. One of those places for your guys and your
a lot
relationship.
of times we'll even get our picture there just to look at it year to year, right? So,
Yep. I love it.
Yep.
My wife and I love Red 7 as well. Check out Red 7 if you're looking for a good date night.
Yeah.
I love it.
Yeah.
I love it. So, Casey, as I mentioned earlier, we're continuing our series, Tell Me Your Story. We've had a lot of great guests on here that have been telling their stories recently, and you really have an incredible story. Really, really incredible.
Yeah.
Just where God has taken you in your life. I want to start off by really getting to know you a little bit.
Yep.
Tell our audience a little bit about yourself.
Okay. Yeah. So I have 4 children. I have 11, 9, 5, and 3, and my wife Rebecca. We've been married. Actually, it'll be 13 years this week, 29th. So that's coming up.
Don't forget it.
Don't forget that, right? So we live here in Lafayette. I own an independent insurance agency. Bought it a few years ago, and I coach my kids. They're all in sports, so basketball, baseball, softball. So we're pretty busy with that. This spring, actually, these 2 months, my daughter is in travel softball. My son's in travel baseball. So between the two of them, I think with T-ball, I think we have over 100 games. So it's intense, but I love it. But it takes some time.
So you're a coach. You're coaching teams. You coach your team at work, in your business. That's something you do on a daily basis. I want to dive into that really quick. What do you think makes a good coach?
Yeah, so, I would say a motivator, someone who has a good plan for it, whether it's, the employees. We try to stay, we have a certain schedule we stick to.
Yep.
But just to kind of inspire, as far as at work, it's more just inspiration, trying to inspire them to do their best, kind of lead by example there, and keep things positive.
That's
for the most part.
That's good right there. What makes a great leader? A motivator and someone who inspires. For all you leaders out there, are you being good at motivating people? Are you being good at inspiring people? We all have different platforms.
Mm-hmm.
We're all leaders in our own sense. I want you to think about that right now. Check yourself, check your leadership. Casey, I want to get into your story a little bit.
Yep.
Drew Brees' book, Coming Back Stronger, I'll never forget one of those lines in there that says adversity equals opportunity.
Mm-hmm.
Adversity equals opportunity. You and I talk a lot about the mind. You being a client. We talk about the mind every day on our daily compete call, in our weekly meetings. And we talk about perception and how you can reframe, how you can flip the script, and how adversity is an opportunity. Give our clients and our listeners a time where adversity hit and you use it as an opportunity to grow.
Yeah, so probably, the hardest time in my life was probably 14 years ago. So it was like a storm, So I went through a divorce, and I remember I was living in my buddy's attic I lost my house, my job, and eventually I moved back to Indiana, so my friends, everything. And it was one of those like country songs, I guess, almost at the point where, even my dog, that's what I had. He came back and he died. So it was just like one thing after another. Gosh. And I'll be honest, that was a low point of my life. And during what was going on, I didn't even know which way was up. But I got to a point, and I can remember almost the day, and I was living with my parents. Here I am. I'm thinking I'm a complete failure. And
how old are you?
I'm 43 now, so I was probably 30.
Yeah.
So
got it.
29 or 30.
Yep.
And so I can remember up to the day, like I was literally rock bottom, had maybe $200 to my name. And I can remember just literally, and I won't say my faith was that strong at that moment, but I remember thinking, I have nothing left. Like,
yep.
I was in complete surrender. Like, I was like, God, help me. Like, I don't know which way to turn.
Gosh.
And I can remember that day hitting that rock bottom. And anyway, it was almost the next day. I can remember I got a phone call. I got a job. And, within about a week, I met Rebecca.
Yep.
So,
you're now
anyway, I was at rock bottom, but it started to go uphill, quickly, I guess. But even, I started my job that day, and I that week went down there and almost had like a panic attack at work, passed out in front of all my employees. It was just, and I was in the hospital. I just started dating Rebecca, and she called. She's like, "How's the first day?" I'm like, "Well, funny story. I'm in the hospital, and they're checking my heart and all this other stuff." So it was just like a string of events that I couldn't make up. But anyway, it's taught me a lot looking back at those days. So,
what if you can? Man, there's so much in that story right there. Divorce, lost your job, $200 in your bank account, living in your friend's attic.
Yeah.
To, man, now 14 years later, seeing successful businessman, beautiful family. Man, it's just so cool to see how you kept plugging and chugging. Mm-hmm. If you can pull a lesson out of that story right there of something God taught you, what would it be?
A couple things. I would say, so looking back, it doesn't make maybe as much sense, but it was almost empowering to have nothing. It was almost like nothing to lose. It's like playing a game, nothing to lose. Yep. But it's a complete just surrendering, turning it all over to God, because I knew that I wasn't capable.
Yeah.
So that's one thing. And the other thing too is that it has helped me take risk. And because I saw the bottom and I got over it, and I started to go uphill. So I was like, I'm not scared of it in a way. I was scared at that moment, but not now. Because I can, I can take a risk now and be like, well, if I lose everything as far as financial, I can start over and build it right back up. It would be humbling. It'd hurt my pride, but I can do it, and I'm not afraid to do it. Had that not happened, I would have played it safe, like always. Wow. So I know that, just looking back. But in the moment, I didn't know that.
That's unbelievable right there.
Yep.
Guys, everyone listening here can take away from that story right there. Go back and listen to that testimony of how God worked in Casey's life. Rewind it a couple minutes and listen to it again, because I know Casey, and I'm walking with him closely right now, that he's not playing life safe. That's not what God is calling us to do. He's not asking us to keep our cards close to our chest. He's asking us to go all in.
Yeah.
Surrender our lives to Him. Mm-hmm. Mark 4:34. My wife hit me upside the head with this verse yesterday. Mark 4:34 talks about Jesus is speaking, and he says, my nourishment to my spirit is doing the will of the Father. You and I talk a lot about our unique abilities, our unique
Right.
design. And when we operate out of our passion, now this is doing the gift, talent, ability that only you can do,
Right.
that feeds and nourishes your spirit. Like you come home energized, you come home fired up, and you have to learn what that is through going through the hard times like you're talking about
Right.
here.
Right.
So I'm curious, as we talked about coaching at the beginning,
Yeah.
like as you went through those hard times, and I know your word for your life is inspire.
Right.
As you went through those hard times, was there like a moment where you're like, dude, I love coaching, I love inspiring, I love,
Yeah.
was there a story there that helped you realize your unique ability?
Yeah, so I don't know if it was like right after that, but like obviously as my kids got older, I coached them, and I just loved pumping up kids, and I I'd maybe taught Bible class at church or whatever, but I realized that's what I got me pumped up. So just having kids believe in themselves or whatnot, I could just tell that's what kind of fueled my fire. And then even at work, it's like, man, if somebody was down or whatever, and like I could give them something positive to go off of and help them out. That's what I really enjoy. It's still that's what drives me now.
That's what drives you.
I like my business and insurance, but like truly, it's just like trying to find people I can help inspire to do whatever they're called to do.
Insurance in your business that's going very well, very successful, is the vehicle, is the tool to get you to shine your light to people.
Yep.
Man, that's so cool.
Yeah.
That's so cool. So if you're listening, guys, you all have a light. You all have a light to shine. Casey shines a very broad light. We talk a lot in our mindset training about mental auras, mental atmosphere. It is scientifically proven that your aura exudes 15 feet around you.
Yeah.
So like this is why when you walk if you played sports and your coach is mad and he walks in the locker room, you feel it.
Oh yeah.
Casey, when he walks into a room, he lights up a room, he inspires people, people feel it. Insurance is the tool for him to inspire people. What's yours? What is your tool? What is your unique ability? What is your gift? What is your passion to shine your light? Casey, I want to continue on here.
Yeah.
I want to talk a little bit about dream season. Finishing up 6 months. Pretty cool.
Yes.
Pretty cool.
Yeah.
We started in January. We're coming up on June here. It'll be our 6th month. And you set some goals. Mind, body, and spirit goals that you're crushing.
Yeah.
Mind, body, spirit, business. You're crushing them all.
Yeah.
It's been pretty cool to see. I just want to, if you could give our audience an inside look on how dream season, what you've gotten out of dream season.
Yeah. So, Jordan, when I reached out to you, I knew you were doing this. Life, like I told you, life was pretty good, but I knew I needed something. I could just tell, just to take me to the next level. And I didn't know what it was. I didn't even know what dream season was, per se. But, like, I trusted you, and I knew just from talking with you, I was like, all right, I'm going in. So, I mean, I know I'm sitting here with you now, but there's literally in the last 5 months, my life has changed more than any other point in my entire life, and that's talking when I was rock bottom or not. It's just
give us some
examples. So when we first met, I flipped everything. So I think we're physical beings, and we might have like spiritual moments or whatnot. And what you did right off the bat is flip the way I think about it. Is we're all souls, we're all spirits living in a physical body. And so, like in my mind, I have like those. It's almost like Sim City. Like your soul's like above you or whatever, and it just changed the way I look at people, and how I even approach people. Like I'm intentional. So. And that's with everyone at all
Yep.
times. That's not to say I do it perfect every day. Obviously not. But it changed the way I look at that. And I mean, there's so many things that I do to set my day right now. And this is going to sound like a lot probably, but you started me right off the bat. I wake up, this is crazy maybe for some of you, but I take a cold shower. I jump in the cold shower. I go downstairs, I read, and then I journal, and then I pray and meditate. And then I go work out. And my workouts, it might even be 20 minutes of walk. Then I lift weights, and then I go to the sauna. And I come home.
And how much weight have you lost since January?
Yeah, like probably 25 pounds or so. So
Right.
yeah, but it the journaling has probably helped me more than anything else. I've never done it before in my life. I'm 43 years old, but for those who have not tried it, I can't recommend it enough because you kind of, I don't even know. Like I write what I'm thankful for just to start off the day.
Yep.
And I think I saw something on a Facebook post or whatnot, but like as soon as you wake up, you have millions of things going to you at you. And if you can focus on the things that you're thankful for and what gives you gratitude, that's what you're going to see throughout the day. If you're going to go buy a new vehicle, it seems like you're looking at this red car on the park or on the car lot. That's what you see.
Everywhere.
Until you buy it, you see it everywhere. So if you write down
attention and intention.
yeah, it's like So where you're what you're focused on is where that's where your energy goes, right?
Yeah.
So,
where your attention goes, energy flows.
Energy flows. There you go.
So you have focused all your attention on your true north statement.
Right.
Would you mind sharing? That's what we did at the very beginning in Dream Season. We talk about true north. This is the direction your life is going. What is your true north statement?
Yeah, so like when we first met, that was one of the things you had told me. Let's find a true north statement, and if you're not sure, start serving, and it'll become real clear what stirs your heart and what gets you going. So mine is to live inspired and inspire others, and I found that when I'm doing that, that gives me the most joy and happiness, and that could be to friends, family, employees, just everybody I come in contact with. So I write that in my journal every day, and that keeps my focus there. So like I said, one of the things you had said, where your focus goes, your energy flows, right? So and that's very true. So it gives me intention in every day, and it keeps it, like, since I write that first thing in the morning, that's where my attention is. So it's helped me so much.
Yeah. And Casey, I love you sharing that. And just to recap your story that is so special, from going through a divorce, living in your friend's attic, having $200 in your bank account at that time, and you got to a point of full surrender. Like, I love how you use that word surrender. We use the word detachment sometimes. From outcomes, and you surrendered your life to God and said, you know what, God, I'm yours. That's when you allowed an infinite amount of possibilities for him to work. When you said, I'm yours, God. I'm just a vessel. I'm not my mind. I'm not my body. My life is yours. The very next day, you got a call about a job.
Correct.
That week, you met Rebecca.
Yeah.
Now, you have an extremely successful business here in Lafayette, Indiana. 4 kids, beautiful wife, beautiful family, and all glory to God for that.
Absolutely.
Because you surrendered to him. So, listener, I want to encourage you to today surrender. Surrender the outcome. Surrender the outcome to God. It's in basketball. We train a lot of basketball hoopers. When you're trying to score 20, you don't.
No.
But when you surrender the outcome and you go out there and you play for God, you play for your team, and you focus on doing things you can control, like loose balls, defense, rebounding, okay, encouraging the people around you, all of a sudden the bucket looks massive. And that's when you score 20.
Absolutely.
But when you focus on your plans, okay,
Yeah.
and my life, I want to do X, Y, and Z for me, okay, that's when the bucket shrinks. And you're going to miss every shot. And you're going to fall flat on your face. This is why in the New Testament, Paul says, the flesh is weak, but the spirit is willing.
Right.
Okay? Our flesh is going to continue to say, hey, you need this to be happy.
Yeah.
You need anything of this world to be happy. Money, cars, sex, mansions, whatever it is.
Mm-hmm.
And nothing of this world is going to fulfill your life.
Yeah, one thing that this dream season taught me is to go back to that day. And really, I looked at it as, and I truly almost felt like a power, just because like you're playing nothing to lose type attitude. And so, but I don't want people to think, man, everything's been peachy since, because it hadn't. But what even starting this in January did is really I should live every day like that day when I was at rock bottom, and surrender it every day and detach from all outcomes. And so that is what this has done for me. And so the thing that you had preached over and over, and I'm not there all the time, but I'm there a lot, is that, don't live in the past, don't live in the future, live in the present moment. And that present moment, man, the past is guilt, and the future brings anxiety. And I had a ton of that. I was worried, what was to come. But now, if I do feel a bit anxious or whatnot, I recognize it. And all I try to do is get centered and back at that peace. Because, man, in the last 5 months, it's been like, sometimes I feel like, you think, do you have a good day or a good moment? Like, it's like, man, I've had good weeks, good months, and really that's where my focus goes. As soon as I'm just out of that zone, I know it. And what I do, I try to get my mind right, my soul right, and get back into that flow state, if you will. So I wasn't doing that before this. I couldn't recognize it. Now I recognize it, and it's changed my whole life, the way I look at everything. So anyway,
That's awesome.
I can't speak highly enough about the dream season thing. It's changed my life. I know, and this isn't an advertisement, but like, if people think they're missing something, it's
That's
like,
a whisper.
Do it. Yeah, do it. So, because it's changed my just perception on life and everything in general, and I can't speak highly enough
Casey,
about it. Yeah.
I appreciate you saying that. And for all you guys listening, this is such an awesome testimony from Casey and his life and what God is doing. But there's never this point of like arriving.
Right.
Like following God is a journey.
Mm-hmm.
And this is why Paul, you see in the New Testament, he gets to the end and he's like, I fought the good fight.
Mm-hmm.
I finished the course. I kept the faith. Right?
Yeah.
Like, you never arrive here on earth. This ain't it. Like, where we're, like this, the scriptures talk about aliens, that we're liking us to aliens passing through. Like, this ain't it.
Yeah.
This ain't it. So, like, there's nothing of this world, if you're listening, as we mentioned, money, cars, anything of this world is never going to satisfy you. There's always another level of success. There's always another level of achievement. There's always another level of financial security, and it never ends.
Yep.
So the thing I want you to take away from Casey's story is the idea of surrendering your life to Christ. And when you do that, that opens up an infinite amount of opportunity for God to work. But when you try to control your life, All right? In a logical way. All right? You are limited. All right? We talk about the brain.
Right.
Casey and I talk all the time about the brain and the heart. All right? The brain is logical but limited. All right? You have a brain. You need it. You got to use it, but it's limited. But when you follow your heart, the spirit, okay, where God lives in you, and you follow his spirit, you open your life up to literally limitless opportunities by surrendering your life to him.
Yeah.
So
and one last thing, Jordan, I'd be remiss not to say this, but part of what prompted me to do this dream season is a year ago, my uncle, he passed away tragically, and you know, a couple things I learned from that, and then his wife just a few months later, just horrific for our family. But one thing at the funeral, and he was a high school basketball coach, everyone said he was positive, and that's why like some of his teachers that taught with him, my mom went down there to the school with her sisters, and they're always like, he was always positive. He was always positive. And that meant a lot to me. And, you know, honestly, they had to throw a lot of his stuff away at his house. And, like, I can remember my mom saying it just broke her heart. They worked all this life for this. And I'm like, Mom, step back. I was like, his legacy is what he worked his whole life with. This stuff is gone. Like, we don't take any of it with us. So right then, it's like, man, what can I do to impact people? Because that's the only thing that truly matters. We're just a spirit floating through this. That's what my grandpa always said. And you know, so that stuck with me, and you know, that's what kind of prompted me to start this dream season, because I was like, man, he left this legacy. I want to leave a similar legacy here, and you know, the material stuff that ain't it.
That's it.
You know?
And I believe it's in Corinthians where it talks about focusing on what is unseen versus what is seen. And what is seen is anything of this world: success, cars, money, mansions. Not saying that thing's bad.
No.
Having those things is not bad.
Nope.
But when that is your heart's desire,
right,
it's going to leave you empty.
Yeah.
But when you focus on what's unseen, which are the fruits of the Spirit, love, joy, peace, patience, kindness, gentleness, self-control, and you focus on producing the fruits of the Spirit because you're living in step with the Spirit, that's what's eternal. That is what lasted with your uncle.
Yeah, absolutely. And that's not, none of us are perfect or anything like that, but man, that was what I kept hearing it over and over and over. And you know, I look at like, why would that happen? Such an awful thing. And you know, a year and a half, it's still tragic and upsets myself and our family and whatnot. But you can see the story from that 30,000 foot view. You can see how it's playing out with other members of the family. And you know, just we have to look at we can't look at just this short time we're here. We look at the big picture, eternity. That's it. And you know, that's where our focus has to be. And that's another thing my grandpa always said is like, hey, will it matter 100 years from now? And you know, I used to just kind of chuckle, but like, he's right. You know, what's going to matter 100 years from now? So anyway,
guys, so much you could take away from Casey's story today. Appreciate you joining me on the Compete Mentality podcast, Casey. If you are moved by this podcast, I ask that you share this with a friend. Share it right now. Just takes 2 seconds. Share it with a friend. Leave a review. Subscribe to this podcast to hear more amazing stories like Casey. And I just want to say, if you are interested in hearing a whisper about joining Dream Season X, Casey is joining Dream Season X, and join amazing people like Casey who embody the compete mentality. Shoot me a message, shoot me a DM, go to our website, competetrainacademy.org, and always remember that competing is doing what God is calling you to do, even when it's hard.